Greetings, fellow commanders. Today I'm going to show you how to script your way to an Xbox Series X with PowerShell. I'm Commander TV from scriptcommander.io. We're going to be combining the use of the send-mailmessage command and the invoke web request command to scrape a web page and send us an email depending on the results. So let's start with the invoke web request command. I'm going to start out with the variable, and I'm going to name that variable URL, and that's going to be the website that I'm looking for. And then I'm going to go with the invoke web request, and for the invoke web request you have to specify the URL, and then I need to say use basic parsing because I don't have Internet Explorer completely set up on my side. I'm going to close that off, and I'm going to specify I just want the raw content of that. Looks good. Let me snag the URL that I'm looking for. This is GameStop's website. Paste that in, run it. PowerShell is going to reach out, grab that raw content from that web page. You can see the HTML tags and everything else in there, and print that to our pane. So that's great. That worked. Looks good, but not incredibly helpful. Let's add an if so we can start to build workflow off of this. So I'm going to say, I'm going to call this variable GameStop. And if GameStop contains, actually we're going to say not like, and put that in wildcards. And what are we looking for? Currently unavailable. So if it does not contain currently unavailable, then that means that it is in stock. Else, it is not in stock. Let's run it and see how we do. Not in stock. Sad times for many, many, many people out there looking for an Xbox for Christmas. But hey, at least we know it's working. The next big item we need to figure out is how to send ourselves an email. Sending email can be tricky, not because the code is actually fairly straightforward, rather because depending what your email provider is, you may have to disable certain security controls to keep your account safe. The proper way, and I do feel like I need to point this out, the proper way to do this would be to use a dedicated mail account that's only purpose is to send email, and not use your personal email account credentials. Now, I'm assuming most of you are not going to either go through the hassle of setting up a dedicated Gmail account or have your own private server where you could set up an SMTP email account specific for this. So I'm going to show you how I did it with my Gmail account. So again, there's two Google security features that you have to turn off for this to work. I've already done that. I'm not going to go through that, but I will have that in the description. And one, you have to allow less secure apps access to your account, and you have to disable two-factor authentication. So let's do a new script, and let's piece out the send mail message. So we'll start with the command, and then we'll add in the necessary parameters like the from, subject, body, etc., etc., etc. So let's start with from, and let's do a to, and we're gonna have to give it a password, and then credentials, and we will want a subject and a body, and then our send mail message. So for the send mail message, again, we have to specify from, and that's going to be our from variable. we have to specify 2, and that's going to be our to variable, and our body. Subject. SMTP server, because I'm using Google, it's going to be smtp.gmail.com, just like that. And then our credential, which is our credentials variable, and then specify verbose and specify use SSL. And that's the basics of it. Let's go ahead and get these built out. Alright, so instead of me typing in someone at somewhere.com, I'm going to use a get content command, so that way I don't have to publicize to the entire world what my credentials are. So we're going to be doing this for each one of these. So let's do a get content, and then specify path, and this is my from text file. I'm just going to copy and paste it down because it is going to be the same, except for here we're going to say our to text file, and for password we're going to change that to our password text file. Alright, now for the credentials, that does get a little bit tricky. I'm going to refer to some notes here to make sure I get this typed out right. So we have to say we're doing a new object, and that new object is going to be management.automation.ps credential from let's see, password, and pipe that to a convert to secure string as plain text, and you have to force it. Close that up. Looks good. No immediate error messages. I'm going to move on. For my subject, I'm going to say Xbox Series X is in stock. And then for the body of an email, I'm going to say your custom script from script commander.io has detected the Xbox Series X in stock. And then I'm going to include the URL variable. That way when I get my email, I can just click on that and I can move on. Alright, not going to test this now. Let's go ahead and get started combining these up. So let's put the email variables here. And let's update our documentation to say web request. And then we need to move our send mail message into the body of our if loop. So that goes right there. And I'm going to get rid of my else, because if it's not in stock, I don't want it to do anything. Actually, I'm going to second guess myself, and we're going to leave it just so we can see that it's working correctly. Now I'm going to make one more enhancement to this script, and I'm going to add a for each. So unbeknownst to you, in my 2 up here, I'm going to change this and call it a to list. And I'm going to say for each to in to list, send an email. And the reason I'm doing that is because my friend is also looking for an Xbox Series X. So when we find that in stock, I want myself to be notified, and I want my friend to be notified. So if I run this now, we should see printed out to the screen, right host not in stock. So I'm going to wipe this so it's clear and run it. Error message. Password does not exist. Password does not exist. And that's why. Rookie mistake. Everybody, my apologize. Let's get that up there. Let's update that password text to credentials. Wipe it and try again. Alright, I'm guessing I have a typo up here. This is the one I struggled with. Alright, so credentials equals new object, management dot, automation dot, PS credential. From comma, I spelled credential wrong. If you found that before me, good for you. That should be it. Let's try it again. Again, clear our pane. Not in stock. Awesome. Little troubleshooting in there. That's okay. This is our weekend project. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to find them. Alright. So I would like to see this send us an email. So I'm going to change this not like briefly to like. So that way when it finds that it's currently unavailable, it's going to send us an email. And again, that's just to test out that the email is working. So run that. No error messages. I'm going to change this back before I forget. And let's go check our email. Refresh. There's our email message. Fantastic. Alright, one more thing I think we can do to improve upon this. Let's put it, inside of a do. And for us to be able to put this inside of a do until, we're going to specify a variable way out here, and we're going to call it counter, and we're going to make it equal to 0. And then we're going to say, do this thing, and jump to the bottom, until do this thing until we find an Xbox. So I want this to run over and over and over again until we find an Xbox. And because it would be nice to see and track how long this is running, we're going to right host, and we're going to display that counter. And up at the very top of this, we're going to make our counter increment each time this runs. So all we've done here is said run this script over and over again until you find an Xbox. So until that web page does not look like currently unavailable. And as we're running it, write out how many times this thing has ran. And we're going to add a start sleep command. And we're going to say seconds 60. So that way it's not running every 5 seconds. We're going to run it every 60. So every minute, the script is going to check our website, look to see if an Xbox is in stock, and if it is, it's going to send us an email. So let's clear and run. Not in stock, checks equals 1. And in 60 seconds, we'll see that update again. So that's all I have for you today, everybody. Thanks for joining me on our weekend project. I hope you have a lot of fun with this, and best of luck to you if you're looking for an Xbox Series X. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and then head over to scriptcommander.io for a copy of today's weekend project.